name is Olivia. I'm one of the archaeologists here, so welcome to St Augustine Lighthouse and Maritime Museum. I'll let you know on this tour, I don't actually take you in the buildings themselves. So you guys can spend as much time as you like going through the exhibits and up the tower afterwards. And it usually takes around 45 minutes to go through, but if you guys have time commitments or things like that, this is one of those tours where you can stay with me as little or as long as you like. So you don't, if you do need to leave early, that's okay. And then if you guys have questions or anything throughout the tours, please feel free to stop me and throw them out. So, to start with today, the tower we have here was started in 1871 and finished in 1874, so it has been here just over 142 years, or 143 until October. But, despite having been here for almost a century and a half, it's not actually the original tower to St. Augustine. The first one is about 300 yards down over that way, which is where Salt Run is today. And Salt Run is this little strip of water that you see right out in front here, between the barrier island and the tower, what we're standing on. And they started construction on this one because they could see that first one was starting to shift at the base of it. Now, the original one was built by the Spanish in the 1730s. And they put it right up close to the water, which normally is where you want a watchtower, lighthouse, or that kind of thing. And while it did stand for well over 100 years, that's well over 100 years of storm action, the beach erosion, kind of all these other natural forces, they were definitely taking their toll. By 1880, that tower did collapse. So they really had started this one just in time in order to have it up and running smoothly by the time that first tower fell. Now, when the Spanish built the first tower, they didn't refer to it as a lighthouse. They referred to it as a watchtower, although some of the documents that we have that talk about it say that it was lit with like a beacon or that it occasionally had a signifier at the top, so it would have still served a very similar purpose as a lighthouse. But it wasn't officially referred to as a lighthouse until the 1820s, when Florida became a part of the U.S. The U.S. Lighthouse Service acquired that building, and they're the ones that first permanently and officially lit it as Florida's first lighthouse. But at its tallest, that building was only about 70 feet tall, so you could only see it about 11 miles out to sea. So when they built this one, they built it 165 feet tall, so you can now see it almost 20 miles out to sea. So essentially doubling its effectiveness as a lighthouse, because they're meant to be aids to navigation, so the further out you can see them, the more useful they're going to be. Now, when mariners are using these towers as navigational aids, there are generally two characteristics that they're going to look out for. And those are known as our day mark and our night mark. And those were assigned to us by the U.S. Lighthouse Service when they commissioned these towers. So our day marks are these color schemes that you're going to see on the outside. They're all going to be a little bit different, so they're all going to be associated with a specific tower along the coastline. So that's what they're going to look out for during the day. But at night, obviously, they can't see these color schemes, and so at that point, it's going to come down to differences in the flash patterns in our lights, or our night marks. So our night mark is created by the prisms in our lenses and how they're configured. So we have a first order Fresnel lens in our tower. It's the largest type of lighthouse lens you can get. So it's 9.5 feet tall, 6 feet wide, comes in 370 individual glass prisms. And around the center of that, they all kind of converge into 3 different bullseye panels. And those bullseye panels are really what's going to focus that central light source and focus it into those brighter beams that we associate with lighthouses. So when you stand underneath our tower at night, you can actually see those 3 beams individually and watch as they move around the tower. But the further away from the tower you get, the less you're able to see those individual beams. So just a stone's throw away over on the island, you can only see one of them at a time. But as you get off the coast, you don't actually see any of them. It just appears as a brighter flash in this fixed light every time one of those beams would cross your field of vision. And so it appears as a 30-second fixed flash, which is St. Augustine's assigned night mark. Now other towers in Florida, like for example Ponce Inlet down the coast, they have a 10-second fixed flash. Pensacola over on the west coast, they have a 20-second fixed flash. Occasionally there'll be shorter intervals, they might be longer, but again, each of these towers is just going to have this individual characteristic to look out for, both during the day and at night. It will tell you exactly what tower you're looking at, and by means of that, exactly what point along the coastline you're looking at, which has been their main purpose since they started putting them in, which is to help people figure out where they were along the coastline. They were especially important here in Florida, because it's so flat. There are kind of no other natural visual markers for you to look out for, and so these were kind of the only visual aids to look out for along the coastline. Now, these are used along the entire west coast, the entire east coast, up around the Great Lakes. At the height of their usage, you'd find one every 60 miles along the coast, so you never had to go further than that without having a navigational aid to look out for. And all of those, day marks, night marks, that kind of thing was printed on your navigational charts. And so if you weren't familiar with an area that you're coming into, you would still have that to be able to look and see what you were supposed to look out for, how far out you could see each of them. And all of it was just meant to help you to move along the coastline. A lot of us still associate towers with warning against rocks or reefs, those kind of things. And while they were certainly used for that, their main purpose was just to be a navigational aid. Now, today, now that we have modern GPS, things like that, many of them have been shut down, but the ones that are still in use do still get used for those navigational purposes. People will still plot their courses by hand using these aids. Navy does it, NOAA Corps, Merchant Marine, private boaters, that kind of thing. Anybody who's off the coast regularly is still going to use these for that purpose, because they do still serve as a very important backup, just in case those modern instruments do fail. They don't fail often, but it might be a technical error, it might be a user error, and so you still want to make sure you have that fail-safe to make sure you do actually know where you're at.